And it's time for...
The Horror Guys!
Yay! I'm Brian.
And I'm Kevin. I'd love to see some Disney movies right now. I'm really in a Disney kind of mood.
We don't have the Disney Network.
The G-rated, light-hearted family cartoons. Wouldn't those be nice right now?
We don't have the Disney Network.
Well, what are we going to do?
But we do have Disney at home.
So we could watch Peter Pan and Cinderella.
And Steamboat Willie, even.
And Steamboat Willie.
We can watch all the off-brand Disney movies.
You see, these things have gone into the public domain, and we've come full circle. Like, Disney took the horror story Hunchback of Notre Dame and Disneyfied it. Well, now, some of these things that are Disneyfied
are going the other direction.
Now, back to horror.
Yeah, we've already done both Pooh, Blood and Honey movies. What else have we done? We did one of the other Steamboat Willie movie, Mousetrap.
Mm-hmm. And did you mention Winnie the Pooh?
We did both the Winnie the Poohs.
Winnie the Poohs, yeah. Popeye, Winnie the Pooh. I think that's all we've done so far.
Popeye's not Disney, but yeah, close enough.
Well, cartoony, yeah. Uh-oh, we have a guest appearance.
Oh, the cat.
If you hear a meowing, that's not us.
Special guest star this week. But we do have movies. What do we have?
We have 2025's Screamboat.
Oh, my.
Yeah. And also 2025's The Ugly Stepsister.
Oh, my.
And 2025's Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare.
Uh-oh.
And going back in time a little bit, 2011's Final Destination 5. And they've just recently come out with number 6, which might really be the final destination, but...
Might be.
You never know.
Haven't seen that one yet.
And then going back to some vintage science fiction horror to 1956's Earth versus the Flying Saucers.
Which really sounds kind of stupid.
And is pushing it to call it horror, but it's got some horror elements.
Aliens invade.
And mind control, and minds getting sucked out of their eyeballs. And,
yeah.
Well, not quite out of their eyeballs, but, there's some grimness to it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, you know who's not affiliated with any of these movies this week?
Us?
H.P. Lovecraft.
Oh, okay.
He's not in any way involved with any of these this week.
No, he isn't.
But we'll use the opportunity to point out that H.P. Lovecraft, the biography, is now available at Amazon. You can pick this up at horrormonthly.com. Click on the hour-long books up at the top corner. It's in a special little menu, which lists all our little miniature horror biographies. You can read the life story of Peter Lorre, Boris Karloff, Vincent Price, Peter Cushing, Christopher Lee, and now H.P. Lovecraft.
And all these books have been very interesting. As Horror Guy's official editor, I learned things reading these myself. Yeah, things that I did not know about these folks.
Yeah, these are not in-depth, super exhaustive, boring, long biographies. These are short ones intended to be read in under an hour that will let you know understand the topic. Talk intelligently about them.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. If you're going to an H.P. Lovecraft themed party, this will get you through it.
Yeah, it would. Yeah.
All right, hourlongpress.com.
I want an H.P. Lovecraft themed party.
Oh, they're out there. There's all kinds of fandoms.
We should totally throw one of those.
Trying to picture what that would entail. Decorations would be fun.
Yeah, they would.
All right, well, what do we got first?
Let's talk about The Ugly Stepsister.
Okay. And I'm going to go right out here and say that's my favorite of the week.
Me too.
2025's The Ugly Stepsister, written and directed by Emily Blichfeld, stars Leah Myron, and Daltorp, and Thea Sophie Loch Ness.
This is not a U.S. production.
1 hour, 49 minutes. Trailer in the show notes. Gives you some idea what you're getting into here.
And there have been other live-action productions of Cinderella out there. I don't know if any from this point of view. This was interesting how they did it from the Ugly Stepsister's point of view. One of them,
Wicked Stepmother and the Ugly Stepsisters.
Mm-hmm. And there is,
but were they though?
Yeah, and the mother's kind of twisted, and the other sister's pretty low key. She's just kind of there being witnessing and horrified at all this stuff.
Yeah. Well, as you said, this is a telling of Cinderella, primarily from the viewpoint of one of the stepsisters. She's fixated on the handsome prince, and she's willing to take some extreme steps to become beautiful enough to catch his eye. What she goes through, and puts herself through, starts out horrifying, and then gets worse as things go along. The body horror is top-notch, and we thought it was very good.
And
It's kind of like the medieval version of The Substance.
yeah, very much so, yeah. It's set in the past, but it's kind of a fantasy version of the past.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, kind of steampunk a little bit. It's definitely a fantasy telling. It's not set in the real world. But
If they had plastic surgery during the Revolutionary War,
yeah, imagine what
Yeah.
that would be like. Yeah,
not fun.
yeah, awful.
What
Yeah.
happens?
Well, we watch as Elvira reads a book of romantic writings and poetry by Prince Julian, and it's pretty clear that she is smitten with him. There's Rebecca, Elvira, and her sister Alma, and they are moving to her mother's husband's new castle.
The new husband's castle.
Right,
Their
yeah.
father has died, and the old lady is remarried.
Yeah, Rebecca is the mom, and the dad has a daughter already. So that's going to be the Cinderella that we haven't met yet. Well, her new stepsister, Agnes, that's Cinderella, shows her around. Elvira's wearing braces, so we know she's the ugly stepsister.
In modern days, if you want a nice-looking actress to look bad, you give her glasses. Back in these days, you gave her braces.
Well, and she does have a prosthetic nose, and they've made her up to look a little
Later.
more homely.
Yeah.
Her hair is a little off, and she's wearing a bodysuit where she's looking a little pudgy.
Yep.
So, you can tell she doesn't have the there's very particular standards of beauty in this kingdom, and she doesn't meet them. Yeah. Well, as the happy couple enjoys their wedding cake, old Otto suddenly coughs up blood and dies. That's a really short wedding.
Bad timing.
Yeah.
Or good timing, depending how you look at it.
So Mom has inherited this castle.
With no money.
Yeah, that's the problem. There's no money, and Dad has no money. So, well, Agnes blames her father's marriage on Rebecca's money, but Rebecca married Otto for his money.
They're both broke and didn't know that.
Misunderstanding there. Yeah. There are already men there to repossess the castle. Elvira says she can get married to bring in some income, but Rebecca knows that's not going to happen as she's hopeless. And
She's ugly and not
ugly.
very graceful. And
yeah. But maybe they can improve her.
It's a fixer-upper.
Yeah. Well, in the morning, they get notice that the king and Prince Julian are putting on a ball for the virgins of the countryside. The prince is looking for a bride. Agnes gets right in, but Elvira gets hers under the name Elvira von Stepsister.
She doesn't have a title.
Yeah, she's not royalty. Not really. Well, Elvira wants to marry the prince, and she has some real fantasies. The doctor talks about removing Elvira's braces, but he doesn't like her nose and wants to fix that. Rebecca, the mom, offers to pay double after the ball. She's that sure that they're going to snag the prince. And they do some nose surgery.
Yeah, they do.
With a chisel. Yeah. Wonk it. And wonks it with a chisel and then reshapes it. And she does have perfect teeth after the braces are
The
taken
braces
off.
at least work.
Yeah. And then we see a kind of a metal nose former that she has to wear for a long time until it heals.
Would something like that actually work?
I don't know.
You break it and it gets all soft and got to reheal. And
Maybe
then you put it in
maybe.
yeah, it might.
It might.
It's not a bad
shape it.
theory, I
It's
guess.
in theory, yeah. Well, Miss Sophie has a finishing school, welcomes all the girls, but she gets put in the back of the dance class with the other ugly girls.
These ones that have no chance.
Yeah.
All right, how about we stop there?
So she's going through finishing school and nose surgery and
Oh, the
and
changes
worse.
are only going to begin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Can I mention the tapeworm? She's having trouble losing weight, and I mean she's not she's by no means obese.
Not huge, but too overweight for the prince.
She's not model thin. So yeah, they've got to. Well, the head of the finishing school wants a successful product and gives her a tapeworm egg, which they really used to do, and I guess is still a black market thing. You eat a tapeworm, and the tapeworm literally takes care of some of the calories for you. You can still eat. Yeah,
today?
There's a black market. Yeah, you can still get them. But it used to be a openly advertised thing. You'd eat a tapeworm.
Probably cheaper than Ozempic, right?
When you lost enough weight, then you take the antidote, and it kills the tapeworm, and you're nice and thin. Ew.
Yes.
There's a lot of ew moments in this
There's
movie.
a lot of,
so
yeah.
much ew. Yeah.
Well, I kind of wondered, did they even have braces in this time period? You know, that fine-looking metalwork?
Well, they did. I looked it up, and they had braces back surprisingly far back.
But what were they like?
But this was
I suspect it wasn't like those.
It wasn't like these, and this is a fantasy too. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
They did, in fact, have tapeworms.
Yes, they did. Yeah.
Okay, as we said earlier, it's essentially Cinderella from the point of view of one of the ugly stepsisters, who's not so ugly by the two-thirds point of the movie.
Goes through some extremes. Yeah.
We get a lot of body horror here, as Elvira gets improved by 19th century surgeons. It's a little slow-moving, especially in the beginning, but it's got some stuff in it I've never seen in a horror film before.
Yeah.
2,000 movies down, documented on the website, and this is the first one of those I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm. Yep. There's some uniqueness in it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I've heard tales, people talking about it that just totally grossed them out. They had to stop. They couldn't look. They had to look away.
Somebody passed out in the middle of it.
Awesome. So anyway, like we said, it's our favorite of the week.
Yes.
Yeah.
Surprisingly much better than we expected.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Also better than we expected is Screamboat.
Mm-hmm.
Directed by Stephen Lamort, written by Matthew Garcia Dunn and Stephen Lamort, stars David Howard Thornton, Alison Piddle, and Amy Schumacher. Hour and 42 minutes. I say it's better than we expected. It's not great. It's not the best of the week, but it's not terrible either.
I was entertained.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spoiler free.
Spoiler free. They took another cartoon character. Like we said, it's public domain, so they really embraced it. And they created an origin story that explains the creation of the cartoon. This guy named Walt was on a boat, and he encountered this creature. So, well, the setting is really cool because they used an actual decommissioned Staten Island ferry. It's the real thing. And the whole package was pretty entertaining. It's kind of a silly side of horror, but it's really graphic. There's a big body count, and yeah, we liked it.
If you like Art the Clown, this is the same actor who plays Art the Clown, and he plays him in very much the same kind of way, as a silly cartoony character.
Who's very deadly.
Yeah.
In creative
It's not
ways.
as gory as the Terrifier movies, but it's a similar way the character, it's the same act.
And his murders are kind of cartoony.
Oh, very much so.
Yeah. It's not animated at all. No, it's live action.
There are puppets.
Sort of.
We forgot to mention, Steamboat is like 2 feet tall.
Yeah.
Well, 2 workers are on the Staten Island ferry, and Dominique hears something moving around deep inside. Neil says, get used to it, as this boat is old. Back in the 1920s, the ferry ran on steam. Steamboat?
Steamboat.
And he's stealing part of that, what's left over, a valuable piece for his retirement. They open a hatch and let a bunch of steam out. They hear whistling and realize that they're being attacked. It comes out of nowhere and steals his nose. It then kills them both as credits roll. We watch as an all-girls birthday party arrives at the ferry. We get to see the various characters, and we are reminded that New Yorkers are weird people. The captain gets a call that the trip is going to be delayed due to heavy fog in the harbor, but the captain leaves anyway. I think he'd probably be fired for that in real life.
I think he would be, yeah.
Homeless man Barry tells EMT Amber, we're all going to die! Because that's the kind of movie this is going to be.
Yep. And he's right.
Oh, yeah.
Most of them do.
Pete, a deckhand, and Selena, a passenger, talk about her avoiding that obnoxious birthday crew. A guy in a Statue of Liberty costume gets killed by a tiny furry creature. Uh-oh. Selena talks to Amber about moving back home away from New York. She's just not fitting in there. The cop then gets beaten half to death with a hammer and dropped into the ship's propeller as Selena watches. We finally get a good look at Steamboat Willie. Selena tells Pete, Amber, and some other people what she saw. When she describes the killer, they all think she's drunk. As would all of us.
Yeah, yeah.
Meanwhile, Willie kills the captain.
Graphically. And splatters all over the cabin. So when they finally do go in the cabin,
they know
definitively that something is wrong here.
Willie then steps on the captain's back and recreates a certain iconic scene from a very old cartoon as he steers the ship around in circles. If you can picture Steamboat Willie, you know what I'm talking about.
Uh-huh.
When the crew figures out that the captain is dead and they're off course, they argue over who's in charge. Amber sees Willie kill 2 of the birthday partiers, and she goes to Selena to tell her she was right. Pete joins in and tells about the captain. Well, Pete moves everyone down to the lower level for safety, and the majority of passengers get locked into a room together down there, and they soon see Willie as well. Things do not go well for the group.
No, they don't. There's a big body count on this.
Yes, and most of them right then.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, this is, of course, another film based on Steamboat Willie, which went into the public domain not too long ago. The thing with the real-life Willie is he really doesn't have any kind of backstory or mythology. He's little more than a one-off whistling cartoon character, so the filmmakers were free to do pretty much anything they wanted with the concept. He's not Mickey Mouse. It's not the same thing. He's his own thing.
Right.
The party girls are all named after Disney princesses. We have Cindy for Cinderella, Ariana for Ariel, Jazzy for Jasmine, Bella for Belle, Ilsa is Elsa, and Rory is Aurora. So Willie gets his revenge on all the Disney princesses. Ha ha ha!
Ha ha.
And as you said earlier, this was filmed on an actual decommissioned Staten Island ferry. There are normally 10 boats in the fleet that cover that route, and the trip usually takes about 20 minutes.
This trip took longer.
And it is explained why, because I was saying not long after
It
that,
gets
shouldn't this be
sidelined.
over by now?
Yeah. Willie takes things off course. Yeah.
Willie is a small puppet about half the time, but in close-ups he's played by David Howard Thornton of Terrifier fame. And in those scenes, he's essentially a furrier version of Art the Clown, and the kills are similarly over the top.
Yeah. Cast is decent. The effects are quite good. Yeah.
It's a slasher movie, but it's in the middle road between Friday the 13th and Terrifier. I would say it's not the goriest thing, but it's not dull either.
It's pretty gory. yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got its moments. Mm-hmm. All right, then we go to another new one, Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare.
And this, I think, is the grimmest of the week for sure. It's the grimmest.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
It's the grimmest one we've seen in quite some time. I mean, for grimness rating and most depressing movie, I would say
the worst of the three. Least of the three.
Yeah, least of the three. But yeah,
Directed by
not
Scott.
that it's bad, but it's grim and depressing.
I did particularly enjoy it.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
yeah, who's in it?
Directed by Scott Chambers, written by J.M. Barrie and Scott Chambers. I'm sure J.M. Barrie would be pleased to have his name on this.
Yeah.
First I wrote Peter Pan, then this thing?
And the original Peter Pan has some awfulness to it.
It does if you think about it, yes.
Yeah, but it's not this awful.
Stars Megan Placido, Martin Portlock, and Kit Green. Hour and 29 minutes, trailer in the usual place. Spoiler free. This version has Wendy, Peter Pan, and Tinkerbell in one messed up real-world take on the magical tale. It's a grim piece of work that really does bring out the horror elements from the story. It's far, far from a Disney tale. We were impressed and would recommend it. I don't know that I would recommend it. I did not enjoy it.
I think I would recommend it if you're in the mood for something grim and horrible.
Partly just because I went into this with expectations. I was figuring we were going to see, Neverland and all the characters from Neverland, but in a twisted way.
We do.
Well, yeah, we do.
It's just a little too real.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. There's no magic in this one.
There's no, there's not. But what happens?
Well, we heard about what a wonderful play Neverland is without parents. We hear about it. The man is reading a story.
It's a storybook, like just exactly like the beginning of the Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey, which was made by the same people.
Yeah. He's got a boy sitting on his lap. And the man closes the book and tells the young boy that it's time for him to go to Neverland. And then we cut to missing posters for the boy.
Oops.
Yeah. At a circus, we watch a creepy clown scoping out all the little boys in the audience.
As clowns do.
This one does. Later, James finds the clown in the trapdoor under the floor at his house. And it's got a major It vibe going on there. The clown's name, he says, is Peter. And he's very friendly and invites James to his special place.
There's no magic in this story. How did that clown know that there was a trapdoor into the kid's bedroom?
I don't know.
I thought it just sort of magically appeared there, but that's not the way this movie works.
No, it's a real trap door. Yeah.
Okay.
Heck of a coincidence.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah. Well, the clown's name is Peter, like I said, and James' mother comes in and kicks the clown in the face before grabbing a knife. And the two have a major knife battle in the kitchen until he scalps her.
Ow.
Ow. And James does, in fact, get sent to Neverland. 15 years later, Wendy's mother nags at her about not going to college because of some guy she likes. And she's also forgotten that it's her little brother Michael's birthday.
She's not a good sister.
Nah. We cut out to a worn-out person looking androgynous. And they are shooting up with pixie dust. The
sort of
syringe.
syringe.
Yeah, the syringe they're injecting in their arm is labeled literally pixie dust. Until told by a deformed man that it's time to collect. The deformed man then goes to the store and picks out a Halloween mask, and he stabs the store clerk repeatedly instead of paying for it. Well, little Michael, the little brother there, has a bike accident on the way home because Peter strung a line across the trail and trips him up, and he sees a strange Come to Neverland van parked in the woods.
And there's a little bit of a glitch here because in the morning he was told not to take his bike to school, and his sister drove him to school. After school, he's riding his bike home.
Mm-hmm.
Where the magical bike just appeared there?
New bike, yeah. Either we missed something or it glitched.
There's some issues with this story if you're paying attention.
Yeah, I think so. Well, the man in the mask grabs him and throws him in the back of the van. Wendy stops at school to pick him up, but he's already left. Later, we see Peter bringing some food to Michael, who's locked in a creepy playroom. He takes off the mask. He's a scarred-up mess, and we see where that happened with the mom that was knife fighting him. And they play hide-and-seek in the nasty, mannequin-filled hideout.
It's like if the Joker thought he was a fairy tale character.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and has a lair, which is a awful house with many, many rooms that's locked up tight, so the kid can't escape. And Tinkerbell can't escape. But he's kind of got her brainwashed.
Kinda.
Yeah. Well, Wendy and her mother know about Peter Pan. He's back.
He's a well-known serial killer.
Yeah, a child abductor. He enlists her friend Mel and Michael's friend Joey to help ask the families of other abductees about their stories. One man tells about his son, little Timmy, who was obsessed with fairies before he went missing. And it turns out that, Timmy is, who's a fairy here? Who's Tinkerbell? A fairy?
Tim Keybell?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, well, let's just go there. Let's stop there. It does have most of the major characters in a weird kind of way.
And Peter, Michael has talked about, Peter wants to get a friend for Michael, his friend that's out, helping. Look, so the extremes that Peter goes through to find this little friend is horrifying.
It's quite bloody.
Yeah.
Well, okay, this takes place in the same universe as Pooh, Blood, and Honey and its sequels. At work, one of Wendy's friends mentions going camping. Turns out we've seen her before. She's one of the campers in that film that gets slaughtered.
So it's in the same universe.
Also, Joey is wearing a T-shirt advertising the movie.
Mm-hmm.
It really wasn't what I expected at all. I was expecting some kind of horrific take on Neverland itself. But it was really just a real-world slasher/child abduction story with some weird twists. Nothing magical or supernatural at all here. Really, it's not bad for what we do get. If you like your children abduction stories with a horrifying edge to them, this would fit right in there.
Lots of realistic gore effects.
I think if they'd have left the word Neverland out of the title, I'd have probably been more appreciative. I was expecting Neverland. Instead, we get Peter Pan's closet hideout.
That's what he calls his lair, Neverland.
Well, I know. I get it. I don't agree with it. It's misleading.
It is what it is.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Also misleading. Earth versus the Flying Saucers from 1956.
How was this misleading?
That sounds ridiculous. it was actually very good. If we didn't have the Ugly Stepsister, this probably would have been my favorite of the week.
Classic, fun 50s science fiction.
Directed by Fred F. Sears, written by Bernard Gordon, George Worthing Yates, and Kurt Sudmak. Stars Hugh Marlowe, Joan Taylor, and Donald Curtis. Hour and 23 minutes, and you can watch this on YouTube. We've got a link in the printout.
Nice.
Spoiler free. What happens?
Very fun 50s science fiction, and it's interesting because it was made before Sputnik, the very first satellite.
There's lots of mentions of satellites,
and so it's really science fiction-y, and it was mid-50s version of, their vision of what the future was going to be like. Plus, there's a flying saucer invasion.
Bunch of them.
Yeah.
Not just one.
The effects are really pretty good for the era, and the story is decent. The cast is good. It's a little bit campy, but they were all taking it very seriously, and there's really quite a body count. If you really think about it, there's the horror element right there. Our only complaint is the ending is kind of abrupt.
Supposedly Tim Burton based Mars Attacks mostly on this film.
Okay, yeah. But we liked it overall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man has always speculated on the existence of life on other worlds. We see news reports of UFO sightings all over the world. The military goes on alert, ready to fire on any UFOs they spot. It might be Earth versus the flying saucers.
It might be.
And credits roll. Dr. Russell Marvin, could there be a nerdier scientist name?
There couldn't be.
Rides in the car and dictates a letter to the Defense Department. He's been married to Carol for 2 hours, and she still calls him Dr. Marvin. He explains that humanity is ready to start exploring outer space. We get stock footage of real rockets and hear about super futuristic things called satellites that we're about to launch. Suddenly, a flying saucer appears over the car, and they pull over. When it flies away, they both doubt what they saw. Back at the lab, they notice that the tape recorder in the car picked up the sound of the flying saucer, so it must have been real. While General Hanley, Carol's father, arrives at the base to talk to Russell about canceling the rocket launch. It's too late, and the rocket blasts off. The general points out that they've lost multiple satellites, but they've all fallen back to Earth. Russell thinks someone is shooting them down, and he tells the old man what they saw. They get a report that number 11 has also lost contact.
Well, that's just crazy, though. What could be shooting them down?
The next day, they launch number 12, but this time they load on cameras and video feeds to see what happened. Why didn't they do that after the second or third one?
You would think they would learn sooner than that.
They get a report of a UFO approaching, and everyone sees it this time. It lands there at the base, and someone gets out. The Army shoots him, but there are others there behind a force field. When the spacemen shoot back, the whole jeep, soldiers included, vanishes. Well, the aliens start shooting and the buildings all over the launch base start exploding. The general is captured and the aliens speak to him. They tried to talk to Russell, but he didn't understand them. He refuses to tell them anything, but they have a mind probe that can access his brain directly. Meanwhile, Russell and Carol are buried in the lab, and they assume everyone outside has been killed. The battery in the tape recorder starts to die, and they finally hear the alien's message as it starts playing at slower and slower speeds.
And then it becomes understandable that it was super sped up.
But now it's not.
Yeah.
They tried to come in peace, but he didn't understand the message because it was sped up so much. All right, well, there's, a government explanation. They explain what they know, and then the war begins.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. And that speed thing is sort of explained, too, with space travel. And
time dilation or something.
There's some technobabble about time dilation and magnetic forces, and they kind of live between moments when they're on the ship, and
don't think too hard moments.
Don't they? But anyway, that's why it sounded so sped up. Yeah.
Well, as we said earlier, this was the year before Sputnik went up, so satellites and space launches were all still science fiction at this point. For 1956, the special effects here are really noteworthy. Ray Harryhausen, of course, you know who he is. He did the flying saucers, and everything looks really cool.
Mm-hmm. It does.
It's got its hokey bits for sure, but for the most part, everyone plays it completely seriously, and all seems fairly realistic. From the name of the film alone, I was expecting a lot more camp and silliness. It's a fairly serious alien invasion movie. Mm-hmm. The ending, however, is a bit abrupt. I guess they just shot down all the saucers and the bad guys just sort of ran out of stuff.
But we didn't know how many they had.
We didn't know what was going on, yeah.
Was it a fleet of thousands of ships, or were there 10? Or, that was never explained to us.
It might have been more effective if we'd known how many saucers that there were, or that the aliens were running out of ships.
Clearly they were, but...
Boom. That was the last one.
Oh, that was the last one. We're done. Okay, let's run off into the sunset and go swimming at the beach.
Yeah. Other than the quick ending, though, we thought it was really good.
Yeah, very cool. I enjoyed it.
All right, so over the past
month... and you mentioned, too, it's a colorized version that looked really sharp, too.
We watched the one...
The original was in black and white.
The one we linked to in the show notes is the colorized version on YouTube. There is a black and white version, obviously. I didn't realize it was colored. It's pretty well done.
Yeah, it's good and sharp. The quality is good. Yeah.
All right, so over the past month or so, we've been watching the rest of the Final Destination series. Last week we did 4. Guess what this week is?
5.
You not hard to guess that one.
And 6, I believe, is out at the theaters right now as we record this.
Just came out this week, yeah.
Yeah.
This one came out in 2011, so it's been a while.
Been quite a wait for this last one. Yeah.
Directed by Stephen Quayle, written by Eric Heiserer and Jeffrey Reddick, stars Nicholas DeGasto, Emma Bell, and Arlen Escarpeta. Hour and 32 minutes, and there's a trailer in the usual place. Spoiler free. This was another 3D production, which we saw in 2D, of course, on regular TV, but clearly it was being geared to make the most of the effect. It's better than the 4th movie, which everything I see unanimously is the worst movie, is the 4th one, and almost as good as the first 3. Also, they introduced a couple of extra goodies that were interesting. We liked it okay.
Mm-hmm.
Of all 5 of them, I would put this one probably 4th.
I would too.
But it's not bad.
Yeah.
The first 3 are definitely best, 4th is definitely worst, and then there's this one kind of hanging out in the middle.
It had the longest of the initial disasters of any of the movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what happens?
Well, things come flying out of the screen at us as credits roll. So this was obviously shot in 3D. You can tell right off the bat.
I asked you what happens. I mean, it's a Final Destination movie. You know exactly what happens.
Yeah.
This movie is exactly like the other 4.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the specifics that are different.
Yeah.
It's like they had an outline.
There's the initial big disaster, and then one of the victims of that says, "Oh, that was a vision. We have to get out of here." And that saves a number of them, and then for the rest of the movie, it's that number of people getting picked off one at a time.
Death doesn't like being beaten.
Yeah.
All right, well, specifically then, what happens?
Well, Sam is an overachiever, making a big, fancy breakfast for the whole sales team. That looked like a great meal, too.
It did, yeah.
Yeah. They're getting ready to leave for a team-building exercise.
Oh, yay. It's one of those kind of workplaces.
Peter jokes that he's getting ready to fire Sam. Molly tells Sam that she's breaking up with him. Peter's banging Candace, the intern. We get some, character introductions here. Yeah. Olivia comes to the business outing dressed like a slut. Isaac the nerd wants to get with Molly. He's sweet on her. Dennis the boss, he's kind of straight out of Glengarry Glen Ross, if you've ever seen that. But it's just suffice to say he's a major a-hole. Nathan lets his underlings yell at him for going to the retreat. And then the whole group gets on a bus.
That first image there of Dennis, he gets off the bus, and like I said, Glengarry Glen Ross, he's a jerk and a turd and all that. And he's just mean.
Yeah.
And that doesn't hold up through the movie. He's just a normal boss after this one scene.
Yeah.
It's like he's trying to make an impression that doesn't stick.
Yeah. And, he was trying too hard, or, I don't know.
The writing changed somewhere down the road.
Or messing with them, on this day off. Yeah, I don't know. It was strange. Yeah. Well, the bus passes a log truck. We've seen that before. Yeah, and we all say, "Oh, no, not a log truck." Well, and the sign that they're past mentions that the bridge ahead is under construction. It's a great big suspension bridge. Sam looks out the window at the various death traps on the elevated bridge. We get little close-ups of all these potential things that could go wrong.
There's holes in the bridge where they're working. The workers have these dangerous-looking machines.
Cables are coming loose.
There's still that log truck out there, and the cables are coming loose. Yeah, something's going to happen, but what exactly is specifically?
Well, Sam's getting a bad feeling, and then the bridge starts to crack apart, and everyone runs for it. Candace gets impaled on a sailboat.
Didn't see that coming, even in 3D.
That was impressive, yeah. Unfortunate timing. Yeah. Isaac doesn't make it out of the bus. Molly walks across a suspended beam, but Olivia can't see because she lost her glasses and she falls to her death.
Oh, she survived. She hit the water just fine.
Yeah, she survives for a minute. Yeah. Nathan and Dennis get it next. Sam and Peter leap to safety as the rest of the bridge collapses. Peter gets multi-killed.
How do you die that many times in 1 second?
That's impressive, yeah. And Sam doesn't fare much better. But then Sam wakes up.
Oh.
Yeah, he's still on the bus, and he knows what's about to happen. So he starts yelling at the others that the bridge is going to collapse and we're all going to die. And most of the named characters do follow Sam and bring him back. When the bridge starts to go haywire, they've already got off the bus and they have a good head start. And
the whole group lives.
The whole group lives.
Well,
yeah.
the ones that we know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Later, there's an Agent Block who wants to know how Sam knew it was going to happen. He's with the FBI. Sam explains it was a vision, but Block thinks Sam might have been on a terrorist plot. They're looking at, did somebody do this on purpose? But he has to let Sam go. There's really no evidence. The more they look at the bridge, it was just a series of unfortunate events. And the bus people are known on the news as the Lucky Eight.
Which is kind of odd, because other people were running off that bridge, too. There were other survivors.
There were other lucky people, yeah.
They weren't meant to survive, but other people did.
Yeah.
Oh, well, anyway.
Yeah. Well, he's the one that had the vision, though, the premonition.
Yeah.
At the funeral, old Coroner Bloodworth is there. Tony Todd again.
Was he the coroner? I mean, he's always been Bloodworth. Was he a coroner before?
Yeah, he was in the business.
All right.
Yeah, Death doesn't like to be cheated, he warns ominously. Well, Sam goes to see Molly. He works a second job as a chef and talks about moving to Paris. Peter goes to see Candace, who's in a gymnastics competition.
Those are usually pretty safe.
Yeah, and she complains about the broken air conditioner, but it's her turn. It's really hot in there. And the camera zooms in on various mundane things.
Oh, it's not so safe after all.
Yeah, we know something's about to happen. As she does her thing on the balance beam, water drips on a bad extension cord, the AC vibrates ridiculously, and we see a screw pop out of there, falls down, standing up on the balance bar.
Uh-oh.
Except she avoids all those things and moves on to the uneven bars. Except that things go horribly wrong, and she falls off, lands wrong with a big splat that more or less snaps her in half.
And she's well folded.
yeah, she's a mess. Yeah. Well, I think we should stop there.
Yeah.
It gives people
you know what's
idea.
going to happen. You've seen this movie before, but different details.
Yeah.
This one adds a new idea that the murder might be a way to cheat death.
If you could
If you're a survivor and you kill someone else, they can take your place.
give death another life and you get their time.
Yeah.
The time that they would have left becomes yours. Easy peasy, right?
Oh, the way you worded that makes the very ending make a lot more sense.
Oh, that's mentioned.
Okay, I thought maybe that just
No.
the whole rule didn't really work. It does work.
Yeah, that's what
Okay.
Bloodworth suggested, that you get their time. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it also adds a little twist at the end that makes this a prequel to the first film, which we knew that was coming.
Spoiler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was better than the previous film, more or less on par with the first three. It was fine.
I've seen it said that the new one ties all 5 movies together. Somehow.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm intrigued by the new one.
Don't know why that, unless they, from Death's point of view.
I don't
They
know.
need to do that one of these times.
Ooh, yeah. There we go.
And what's next? Oh, we are all out of movies. We need to see more for next week.
Okay.
Oh.
I'm on board with that.
We haven't done a Godzilla movie in a while.
You know what's better than Godzilla?
What's that?
Ultraman.
Oh, my goodness.
Do you remember Ultraman?
I remember him vaguely.
They did a Shin Ultraman.
Oh,
We should look into that.
we should.
Yeah.
I like Shin Godzilla a lot.
Yeah.
I bet they're not really related.
Probably not.
Yeah. Well, we'll find out next week. Until then, I'm Brian.
And I'm Kevin.
See you next week.
See ya.